Welcome, everyone. Oh my gosh, the day is here. Hi, my name is Trixie Valentine. I am your host tonight for the first episode ever for the podcast Glitter on My Tips. I'm so excited. Thank you all for being here and showing up for our debut. I say we because I'll be bringing my co-host a little bit later. But I wanted to say welcome and welcome to this podcast. It is specifically designed to give maybe potentially a different lens of what drag is. This podcast is all about the professionalism of drag, the leadership of drag, what can drag teach us, but more importantly, how we're able to get things done. The backbone of this podcast is actually produced by this incredible book, which, yes, I wrote. She is an author. Tipping is a must. Yes, 100 tips to run a successful drag show. And I had wrote it and I had published it back in May of 2023. And now we are doing a podcast which goes over the tips. Yes, each episode is a tip. And if you want to think ahead of time, you just get the book and read the tips, because through this interactive podcast and talking, you all will be able to comment and talk related to what's happening. If you would like to be a guest on this, we'll talk a little bit more on how you could be a guest up in here, because the good news about this book is you do not have to be a drag performer. You don't have to be a drag queen or king to be able to know some of the tips in here. It is all about also the management, the people who can produce shows, even just fans of drag. Like, this book is all about this, and our audience. We have our super fans. I know they're here because they're in the chats already. We have our super fans who are here, who are some of the best audience members. And I've actually had them tell me, like, your tips actually helped me correct some of the mistakes I was making. So I am so happy you all could be here. But don't worry if you are over here like, we going over this book all in one podcast. Absolutely not. We're going to spend at least 100 episodes. This podcast at least will make 100 episodes before I make a volume 2, and then we'll get to 200 episodes. But with the background and who I am Trixie Valentine. That's spelled Trixy. We know there are a few people out here who always put an IE. I'm going to throw Alanya under the bus. She just did it to me, but I love her. And I'm from Northeastern Pennsylvania. Outside of drag, I'm a queer inclusive sex educator that runs my own business specializing in queer education and LGBTQIA plus DEI, which stands for diversity, equity, inclusion, work consultant and training services under Mix Kelly Queer Education. Yes, she do it all, but why not have a podcast on top of it? So if you have questions throughout this podcast, please put them in there. We will have time in each section that we do to answer them. But enough about me. I want to bring on someone who I love dearly. I called her and specifically said, you have to do this with me. No is not an answer. And she said, I guess I'll do it for you. And I specifically said, great, here's what you're going to do. And honestly, I can't wait to bring her out, because we will talk a little bit more about how we started this podcast, how it came up. And she is also one of the people I acknowledged and mentioned who've helped me create this book and the tips that she gives. She's a good friend and Judy of mine, but we'll start with introductions. So please give it up for someone who is our current reigning Miss Gay Pittsburgh, PA, America. She actually is out in State College. She is a marvelous and one of the best show producers I know, because I've worked with her on many different shows, but also she's, brought me out there, and she is one to collaborate with. Please give it up for Alanya Chest.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so happy you're hey girl. Hey, how are you? Okay, so before we begin, let's make it all about you. So tell us who you are, what you do, where you live, how long you've done drag. Tell us it all.
So I am Alanya. I am in State College, Pennsylvania. I work for the Pennsylvania State University. So think State College, think Penn State. It's just the city. I work in liberal arts and I do promotion and tenure, which is nothing fun or exciting. But I'm super excited to be here. And the second Trixie told me, she's like, let's do a podcast. And I started a podcast. You should do it too. And I was like, we're both way too busy for this, girl.
Actually, I'm pretty sure your exact words go, when? When are we going to do it? Like, what are we going to be doing? And so we planned this for quite some time. We didn't just crawl out of nothing. I think it was like June. I think it was in June of this year. I was like, we need to do something. And then.
And at first my answer was maybe. And then I was like, there has to be a pretty drag queen on this podcast. Otherwise no one's going to watch it. So here I am.
Okay. You know what? That's fair. That is completely fair. I think the biggest thing I love about this podcast that's going to come up, and we have so many amazing people that are giving you a shout out here in the comments and chat. So I just want to put it up there. I'm going to learn. I have to learn how to use this system to do that, but we'll get there. I promise. Is we actually have these conversations one-on-one, and I don't know how many times we call each other just to sit there and go, I have a problem and an issue and I don't know how to deal with it. What do we have to do? Like, what's the best PR way? But then what's the best manageable way? But we've been doing that for, I think, the last
3-4 years.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And I think the best part about our relationship is we did not become friends because of drag.
No, we didn't even know that each other did drag. We were volunteering for a group. We'll leave it as a group. And I remember they were like, tell us something interesting about yourself. And Trixie and I were going back and forth. I'm like, I'm a twin. I'm like, I'm a twin, bitch, too. Like, guess what? I'm a twin, too. She's like, I work in DEI. I was like, so do I. And she's like, I do drag. And I said, so do I.
I love it. But I remember the day after I met you, like that meeting, that group we had, I said, I like you. Like, you are a good person. Like, the way we connected was an instant. I think it's one of my favorite friendships that I kind of sit here and go, yeah, there was actually no question about us becoming friends and moving forward. I just didn't know the power we would have after that, because in that time, we both were very not as heavily involved with creating our own shows and doing this business thing and, coming up with different concepts of how to produce shows, run shows, and like the business side, the leadership side of this drag. And I think that's the thing that I love most about our relationship is the fact that we grew at the same time in 2 different areas. That's the best part. It was 2 completely different areas. We didn't have to have territorial battles. It was like, hey girl, hey, and here we are.
Honest, though. I feel like the one thing that we always said to each other is like, bitches, like Game of Thrones. Like, who's getting what? Like, that's the queen of the north right there. This is the queen of fucking central Pennsylvania right here. And yes, central Pennsylvania.
I mean, true, because I say you're north central, the real central Pennsylvania. I mean, just look at a map. It's pretty much there. I'm not reading anywhere, so if anyone's going to come for me here,
you can message me directly.
Yeah, message her. And my favorite is I'm actually the queen of northeastern Pennsylvania. So I'm not the only. I will put this out there. We are not the only queens in the area, but we are the ones that have made some of the biggest impacts and trailblazer moments within where we live and what we do. And I think that's the most iconic moment. And like, you just started a pride out in State College only, what, 2 years ago?
3
years ago, right? And I know for me, I started a pride back out in 3 years ago as well in Columbia County and continue. And so there we have it. Within that, again, for people who are listening, if you have questions that come up for you, please do so. Feel free to listen. But we're going to, drop them in the comment. I just realized how I can bring them up if needed. But I want us to actually get to the real juicy dialogue. So while we both have big, beautiful brains, we could talk about ourselves. We can stroke each other. It's 100% real up in here. It's so good. I mean, you're looking like a good pineapple today. Like, you really are. You are definitely like, you're good, for the bodily fluid of the soul. That's how good you are.
It's funny because I was literally getting ready. And I was like, what am I wearing? What am I? I should wear something really glamorous. I should wear like a ball gown or something. I don't know. And then I saw this and I was like, she's going to kill me and that's okay.
Well, my goal was like, I'm going to wear gold and black. And I did go elegant. I did do kind of a disco. This is a cute disco dress underneath. And I have my favorite necklace on. And then I see you in looking like SpongeBob's house. So there's that. Either I'm SpongeBob or Squidward, but my middle name is Patrick. So there's that too. But at
And
least you
this is why people think that you're white.
Well,
this is 110% why people think that you are white. Because they're going to hear Jacob Patrick and like, that's white, mama. That is Caucasian.
Actually, before we get on to our first tip, do you want to like talk about some of our backgrounds in any type of way? Because I do think the diversity of who we are definitely creates good dialogue, and it creates a good insight of how we've had to navigate in different ways.
I'll let you start it out, or do you want me to start it out?
No, I'll let you start it out because like I'll just be like ditto what she said.
Hi, everyone. As I said before, my name is Alanya. I am the current reigning Miss Gay Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, America 2023. First of her name. The first Miss Gay Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, America. Anyways, so my background. So I have a background in higher education. Specifically, my roles prior to this have been around human resources, public relations, and some of the financial aid, some of it. I have been parts of the university, such as implementing the first Trans 101 training for Penn State human resources employees in order to ensure that there is more equitable treatment from the second you start working for Penn State University. Mm-hmm. My background is I am a Section 8 baby. If you know what that is, you know what that is. Literally started from the bottom. Now we're here. I am a twin. You know, I'll keep it appropriate for now.
Yeah, for now though. Remember, I can't edit this.
I mean, is that an invitation?
I mean, don't forget, you're going to be on every other episode. So we have a whole season. We have a whole season.
I have enough to talk about for a whole season, so I'll let you go ahead.
Okay, great. Trixie Valentine, also Jacob Kelly outside of drag, which we don't really say. And I do due to it's my business. I'm a PhD student at Widener University studying human sexuality philosophy, specializing in human sexuality education. My dissertation is an understanding of non-binary gender development, and I'm not getting into all of that because I do not want to think about my PhD right now. My background is in nonprofit works, specializing in the field of HIV and STIs, and then also in community support services, and then also in diversity, equity, inclusion, and helping write internal policies, helping HR in that kind of field. I wasn't in direct HR. I was the one that like helped them, guide them through some of the steps that we need to. Yeah, the consultant, you may say. And that is the overview of my background in that. I am, I'm also a twin. Now, Alanya, if I'm correct, you're the A twin?
Yeah.
We're the A twins. The A twins.
No, you are a twin.
Yeah, I'm the A twin. I mean, I'll give her a shout out. She is in my book. I love her, but I'll give it up for my twin. For those who don't know, it is the legendary icon, internationally known and recognized on multiple platforms for the last 5 years, Harpy Daniels.
And I got stuck with Twin A.
I'm liking this. This is going in a good direction. And the thing is, we're sober. And so we're going to get on to this first tip. So it is the first tip we are going to actually be talking about again in the amazing book, Tipping is a Must. And please buy this book in the sense it is a good book. It does more than just tell you about the success of drag. And Alanya, I'm sure you have recently just read it because you picked our very first tip of the first episode. And these tips can relate and be transferable to more than just drag. There are actual tips that we can take in life and go, you know what? maybe I need some kindness here, or maybe I need to have the phrase of like E is for everyone, meaning these hands. And like those are both a real thing in this book and very transparent. So I will put it out there. I don't condone violence. We do not condone violence. But in this book, it talks about that. I also want to put it out there that we will take who might pick the next tip. So if you are looking for a person to pick the next tip, I mean, if you have the book and show it,
if you have the book, you don't have to just settle for the tip. You can have the whole thing.
And that's how we got glitter on my tips. So with that,
so do we want to go over how we got glitter on my tips first?
Oh yeah, hold on, we'll move that. No, absolutely. We did. We actually no, we're gonna save it for our small intermission. We'll do it after intermission. Be light. We'll put up the light. But no, I like that. We'll come back to that question because I did want to. This first tip. Alanya picked it. And if it's anything is poorly written on here, you're welcome. She's dyslexic, meaning me. The first tip that we have is tip number 6. Now, I'm going to tip number 25, but she said, no, we need this one. And I couldn't agree more. Tip number 6 is reach out for bookings. And if you'd like to be in a show, asking is the best way to find out. Reach out and let them know you're interested. People often need reminders of all the performers who could be in a show. And so this is a very generic tip. It is very basic and it's very simple, but we're about to talk about what this tip is. So I'm going to leave it up just for another second, just to repeat. We are going over tip number 6 today. Reach out for bookings. I think it's the number one question, and Alanya, you could correct me, that I get as a show producer for newer drag people or even veterans, even people I've met and they've done it for years who've never been to my area and go, how do I get booked? And this tip answers that specific question. So we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Reach out for bookings. So why did you pick this tip? How do you feel about it?
So I feel like that's the first kind of tip that I really, really resonated with because it's the question that obviously, as you said, we get that the most. You know, I'm pretty sure myself and Trixie, so myself for Central Pennsylvania and Trixie for Northeast PA have the most shows in those exact areas. Mm-hmm. And one of the questions we always get is, why won't you book me? Meh. And there are so many ways to answer that very loaded question. So many ways. Firstly, I just want to point out it's a job. Even if you're doing it as a hobby, it's a job. Mm-hmm. Are you just going to show up to a job interview and go, hire me? I mean, we're in our fantasy, maybe like delusional, like Delulu All 2023. At the same time, that's not the way to approach it. Approach it like it's a job. Do you have a portfolio? Do you have videos on Instagram? Do you have like any kind of social media where I can check it out? I don't know you. If I don't know you, I can't give you an answer. How do you want to present yourself? Consider it like a job and show up.
Yes. Highlighting have a portfolio. And like you said, this is a transferable job interview. Like you don't just show up and say, hire me. Like you need to show why we need to hire you. Who are you? How do you relate to what we can offer and vice versa?
What's your elevator pitch?
Right. And I think asking and reaching out to be booked, because I will say there's a lot of drag queens in Pennsylvania. Like there is so many of us, like some of them are good friends. And I hate to say this, not to be somewhat biased. We typically think of the people we've had a good relationship with, that we know we can work with, and that we automatically trust right away. Like the reliability is a real thing. And it's harder for newer drag queens or people who move to the area who are like, how do I get booked? And if you don't reach out to us, I'm going to promise you, I don't know you. I'm not going to be like, oh, you moved to my area. Girl, I am too busy sitting on that couch watching Netflix.
We did not get a notification in the mail that said, so-and-so just moved to your area and is looking for bookings.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, oh, I won't cut you off, girl.
And one of my biggest things is if you show up to the show in drag, and I'm not talking about like with a quick little shake and go wig. If you're coming like you were booked in that show, 95% chance I'm going to walk up to you. I'm going to walk up to you. I'm going to ask you who you are. I'm going to ask you where you're from. Are you looking for shows? Are you looking to be booked?
Mm-hmm. And
110%.
the other percent to that is you have a higher chance of being booked on the spot at that show.
Because I am so impressed with the fact that you just showed up like it was your job.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I 100% agree with that settlement. And I will say for anyone that has shows, and this is just a tip that it's not in my book. It's just what I've done. Is one of my things is I've given the opportunity for people to reach out for me to be booked. That's the other thing. Is like it's easily accessible. It's found. Like I actually this year was the first year I created an Excel document and posted it and was just like, whoever wants to be booked, fill this out. This is how I'm going to know, because it also answers. Now, Alanya, I want to get further into like booking and that idea too, which we go back and forth on. But like as a person who books, if someone reaches out to me, I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to be like, you better work. And there's a few people in the audience now who've done that, and I'll give them a shout out. Like Alze, we're good friends, but she always puts that reminder out there to be like, girl, don't forget about me. And like it's like no tea. Like I'm just like, you better work. Thank you. And same with Velvet and even Asia. And so they're so good. But I think the best thing I could do for the performers who want to be booked in my area to my shows was give them that chance to fill something out. Be like, hey, just fill this out, do it. Because it also lets me know how much is your booking fee? How far are you driving? Can you do the days that I'm looking for at my show? Are you appropriate for this show? And the book goes over what all of these things are. Like, we don't have to get them all day, but like, there's not every show is for everyone. And so, but if you're asking me to be booked and you don't have an elevator speech or a way to tell me who you are or a portfolio, I agree with you. How am I gonna book you?
If you don't have an elevator pitch, you are not selling yourself. You can't even sell yourself short at that point. You're just not selling yourself. You're not even advertising. Come with references. Honestly, the amount of times that people will be like, oh, like so-and-so that you already work with told me I should reach out to you. I'll reach out to so-and-so and be like, what's the amount of times that I call Trixie and I'm like, Trixie, this person's from your area. What are your thoughts? Are they professional? Are they going to show up on time? Are they going to get me their headshot? Do I have to chase them for music? Show directors talk. All of us talk to each other, just like all the drag queens, all the drag performers talk to each other. We're a very tight-knit community. Even if we all hate each other, we all talk.
Mm-hmm. Reputation is important because I think for the last show that I booked, I actually called you and go, I don't know who this person is, but I saw on your Facebook you're friends with her. Like, have you worked with her directly? What are your pros and what are your top pros and cons? Only because we value each other's opinion, and there's that sense of trust there to be like, and we're basically the same person in mindset. Like if the same headaches you got from this person, I'm going to sit there and go, ooh. So it's always like, always know that you're not the only person in the room as well. And like when you're reaching out to people like that, it's all a full circle. It all connects in one way or another.
So one thing I really want to drive home, which is the reason why I chose this tip specifically, is it's not in the book, but it's one thing that I constantly have to tell new performers. And this can go to anyone, and this can go anywhere. It doesn't even have to be for drag. You have skills on your own. You have talents of your own outside of drag. I was telling a performer who's newer, and she knows exactly who she is. I said, you have a skill that is desirable. The people who don't have those skills, they go the regular way of, I'm going to attend a show. All the tips that we just went over, that's what they're going over. This person, I was like, girl, you have your own business, and that's desirable for drag. Mm-hmm. I was like, this business specifically, I told her, I was like, I'm not going to tell you what it is that you have to offer, because that's something you should be able to figure out instead. And she's in the comments right now.
I know. Someone, it's just a suck. So, someone actually listens to you. There you go.
Yes, and that's my biggest thing is if you have a skill to trade, you style wigs, you sew, you do photography, whatever it is, you can use that as a shortcut to get yourself into a show.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the same shortcut that show directors use all the time with each other. I have a show, you have a show. We really want to be booked by each other. Trade.
I mean, I will say that That is one of the biggest ways I get booked in other people's show. Go, girl, I'll book you in my show if you book me. And it
I
is
have to book someone.
right. It's just because we know it's a business and like, first of all, exposures do not pay my bill. So there is that reality. But if we have good show producers who are like, I'll put you in my show, you put me on your show, like done set, there's a mutual respect and understanding. And it also lets us know who else we can reach, because there's people I've reached because I'm in your shows and I'm like, I want to book you. Actually, there's the person I just met at your show, Morris Better. I want to book her, all because you invited me to your show and we had that exchange. And so
My
going
chats? You want to book my chats?
Yeah, I do. I do. I mean, you've booked enough of my children, so it's about time I start booking yours.
But no, when it comes to transferable skills and trying to get your booking, think, what do I have to offer? Don't say I'm a new performer who's just really willing. Everyone says the same thing.
Yeah.
Give us your elevator pitch. Listen, every single time someone's like, tell me about Alanya. She's funny enough to steal your man and pretty enough. Sorry, she's pretty enough to steal your man and funny enough to make you laugh about it.
I don't know about that, but it's true. No, it's true. It really is.
It's true if you have a man.
Hi, this just turned into Single Mingle with Trixie Valentine and Alanya Chest. So I want to add to that as well, not just the skills, but how you approach someone as well, because I've had people like, book me. Like, that's just what they say. I'm like, there's so much demand there. Like, I think the communication of like, hey, if you already know them, build off of that report. Like, hey girl, how you doing? Make it relatable. If you don't know someone, I go to one of two routes. I go, hey, Trixie Valentine, it's okay if you don't know me, but I was very interested in your show. I see you do it here. And I see that you have a lot of people that I'm wanting to connect because I'm trying to explore the area and build new relationships. And you're already putting what your intentions are. I think putting the intention of why you want to be booked is so important. That will help me get people booked, because I know too many people who've tried to get booked and I'm like, you won't be booked because I know you're trying to take over a territory and I don't know how. And I've seen it happen. I've seen performers try to take over establishments that someone else already has through these shady type things. Now, I'm not one of those girls, but I've had situations where I'm going, wasn't this so-and-so show? Oh yeah, but I showed up and they fell in love with me. And I'm like, well, you played the game, so I'm not going to knock you for collecting your coin, but also it was shady for you to take someone else's show, depending on what the situation is. Because I will also say, like, I've had opportunities where people have kicked people out and hired me as their show director. And the reality to that was I didn't do anything. They contacted me and said, hey, we know you're in this area. We've seen you. We like the way you run it better. So there is that reality too. But for the people who are getting booked, stating why, not just like what you can offer, stating why, like stating thing. And also flattery does matter. Like, don't overdo it, but it's okay to say like you like what you see. Like you're admired by what we do. Like, that's okay.
I don't need anyone telling me that I'm pretty. I don't need anyone telling me you put on a great show. Tell me what it is that you have to offer.
Yeah.
Show me some little level of dedication outside of being booked.
Mm-hmm.
I pay attention to every little detail. And that's the one thing that me and you have very much in common, is we're not just looking at what you're posting. We're looking at what other people are posting about you. We're looking at what kind of professionalism you bring to the table, what kind of entertainment value. We, as show directors, have to be able to anticipate what the crowd is going to be like and who we need to book for that crowd. So around Halloween, if you're a spooky queen, try for Halloween.
Right.
Like, it sounds terrible. Monopolize on that. Absolutely monopolize on that, because everyone's going to be looking for a spooky queen for Halloween. That is your foot in the door.
Girl,
everyone is going to be looking specifically for you for their show.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to make that your opportunity?
Right.
You hand your music in early. You label it so it says
the correct way, the way they want it.
What number this is. Is this the first number, second number, third number, whatever have you? and the name of the song. And in your email, tell us what mixes are in it. Because if we don't want repeats, that way we don't have to go back to you and be like, hey, what was in your mix?
Yeah.
That way, when we're making the set list and we're listening to music, we're like, oh my gosh, now I have to change this because both of these people have the same exact numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And I lost semi the train of thought that I had because you mentioned so much that I was like, I mean, yes. Oh, that's what it was. Don't bring up somebody else. Do not help someone else get booked. And what I mean is, like, if you're trying to get booked and go, well, I'll also bring this person, that doesn't always settle. It doesn't always look good. Like, worry about you and then tell that other person, contact this person. Like, make them do the work.
We're not here to piggyback off of someone else's, entrance. We're not writing coattails here. Do what you need to for yourself, because you can't do anything for anyone else until you've done it for yourself.
Right.
And like we said, we're looking for any reason to get you into a show. It's not like we're looking for any reason to keep you out of a show. If you're wondering, this person hasn't booked me. I'm like, they know about me. What else do we know about you? Right. Did you show up to someone else's show drunk off your behind and cause a scene? Show directors talk, queens talk, performers talk, people talk. Mm-hmm. If that is the kind of reputation you hold for yourself outside of the show, that's already telling me exactly what I can expect in a show.
Yeah. Because I think the thing people have to think about when they are being booked in that elevator type pitch type thing in this setting is also the liability. It falls back on us. And so when we book people, we automatically are giving the liability of our show and reputation to this other person that's being booked. And if all of a sudden it's a bad show, we now have to do collateral damage. We now have to sit there and be like, we're so sorry. Like, it comes back to us. Like, it's our fault that we booked someone if it goes wrong. But at the same time, I don't want to go on negative. If it goes correct, we also get that. So it's a win or lose type situation. And we want the win. Like, we want the win.
And that's the biggest thing that I feel like most performers haven't acknowledged unless they've had a show is, again, it's work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not only is it work, but we have a boss. We might be the boss in the situation, but that venue is our boss. So when I say, hey, I need to know about this, I have questions about this, it's not because I'm trying to hinder you from doing something. It's not because I don't want you in the show. It's because when I get asked questions, I can't say I don't know. I'm the show director in the situation. I have to know everything that's going on in my show. I have to be able to give answers right away. When I ask questions, it's for a reason. If you have something specific that you love to do, tell me.
Yeah.
The worst I can say is no, and I would rather say no before the show than for you to pack for that. And then I find out and go no, and now you have to scramble to think of something else.
Well, I will also say being booked does not guarantee you to stay in that show in many different ways too, because there's times when I've been in shows and I have to reach back out to like, hey, can I do a show here again? Knowing that there's a rotating cast, but then there's also the understanding that, it might have been good that one time. And then the people, when we say is our boss, I've had owners of establishments saying, unfortunately, we do not want that person back. And that's hard. Like we have the ability to be like, sorry, we won't book you again. Or I have rarely done this. I don't like doing this, but canceled people like, hey, I have to unbook you for many different reasons. And that's a hard pill to swallow, both as the person that's just got booked and stepped back, but also the person that's like, I now have to tell you some bad news and I'm going to tell you why. Like, that transparency is there too. It's asking to be booked can be very tricky in some situations.
My best and easiest way, I've already said it, show up like it's your show.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying get on stage. I'm not saying do anything other than get there early, come in drag.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I see you in drag in the front row living your best life for this show, I don't even care if you performed or not. Guess what? you did the assignment better than some of these performers who've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And I live for that. I absolutely live for that. Show up to the show, come painted. Do not come looking like Trixie Valentine with the IE. But no, in all seriousness, show up like it's a job, and also show up like you're the biggest fan.
Yeah.
Because I promise you, we're paying attention to that. While I'm running around every 5 seconds trying to figure out what's going to happen next, while I'm trying to make sure that nobody knows exactly what's going on fully outside of someone's performing, I'm looking at the audience. I'm paying attention to who's there. I can promise you that a lot of the people I've been known for my shows of memorizing exactly what show you came to, when, where you sat, how many people you came with. There have been people who have come up to me like, oh, do you remember me? Yep, you came to Arena. You sat on the floor over in the top left corner. You had 3 people with you.
You're better than I am.
This was the show. This, sometimes, really creepy, I know. I will tell them exactly what they wore.
What?
A little creepy, I know.
I don't know if it's a little creepy, but it's good.
I'm here to show you that I care about you. I'm
yes.
paying attention to everything that's going on, whether you're a patron, whether you're another performer, whatever have you. I'm paying attention. Every second counts.
Yeah. And just an ending thought, definitely agree. This is what I finally thought of back and think. Play on what you can, because as Trixie Valentine, the number 1 month that I get booked, February. Because of my last name. And I tell you, I do not apologize for it. I go, you want a love song? Because my name is Valentine. Like, I got you. And it works. And it helps you, like, go and get further. Now, for Alanya, sorry, like, maybe Father's Day, right?
I was going to say, that just made me so sad.
Oh, why?
You only get booked for Valentine's?
Stop, get out. Okay.
And you can't even manage a relation. No, I'm joking with you. I'm joking.
Well, no, I do say Trixie Valentine is the holiday for single men. So with that in mind.
That's the elevator pitch right there.
Oh, yes, honey.
She sold herself. How are you going to sell yourself?
This is my thing. This is what we do.
It's what I live for.
So we are going to take a small break, like 2 minutes. So we can, I have to relieve myself. And this is water, I promise. This is water. But we are going to take a small break. Within there, I also want to put up today's sponsor, who's the sponsor for life for this. We can talk about sponsorships. If you're interested in sponsoring our podcast, please email me. You can go to juicywithjake.com, but I will put it up here now. And it is Mix
While you are off camera, I'll take questions.
Yeah, so Alanya will take some nice little questions. Would you like background noise or no?
Sure. Like a little like
yeah, I have to put it on there. So I appreciate everyone. Sarah and Sam, thank you for joining. Thank you everyone who is joining. So if you need a refresher, you can, because when we come back, this is the end of tip 1. So thank you everyone who at least listened to what tip we talked about today. Definitely reach out for bookings. When we come back, we have a nice, fun game to play. And in the meantime, questions for Ask Alanya. Like an AA, All right.
It's the right kind of AA. Alrighty, everyone. So if you have questions for me, drop them in the chat. I am not the host because I don't think she trusts me to be the host. And I know that she's probably like cackling on her way to the bathroom hearing this. But I will absolutely answer any questions that you might have. Yeah, a little too loud there. So, like I said, my name is Alanya. I'm coming from State College, Pennsylvania. Penn State, if you're unfamiliar, it is the true center county, central Pennsylvania, unlike Harrisburg. Again, if you have your questions, drop them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep rambling. So you know what? I'm going to pick on somebody, actually. Jackie. Hi, Jackie. So Jackie, what other tips? Because, you are a new performer and you are the person that I referenced with this tip specifically. What other things have you learned since we had our conversation? And what kind of success have you seen in getting yourself booked? Because I know that we've talked a little about it, but, Obviously, not everyone else was there for the conversation. But, when it comes to transferable skills, Jackie is the perfect example. She's the photographer. She does absolutely amazing work. Are there drag events that are white game themed in State College? White game themed? Are we talking about like the whiteout? So in State College or Penn State, we don't have like a whiteout themed show. I try not to theme my shows too much outside of Halloween, Valentine's Day, and Pride, and Christmas, and holidays. Let's see. I've actually gotten some future offers in the new year. In the new year, like I said, you have a transferable skill that is highly desirable. Message the show director, say, hey, I'm a photographer. I'd be more than glad to do a headshot, something, trade something. We have an amazing drag show this Friday at the Sanctuary. We have an amazing show here in State College tomorrow at Cafe 210. Everyone is booked out pretty far.
I'm back. Like I said, quick 2-minute intermission. So hopefully everyone who was able to stretch could. I also heard there is shows. Yes, I have my upcoming show this Friday at the Sanctuary in Hazleton. And the best part about this show is it's not a normal show. It is a show that specifically is a lip sync battle for your life. The whole show is around kings, queens, and drag performers going head to head in songs that they are prepared for and know. And there's going to be a top 4. For this is round 2, where we are going to do 2 more rounds until we do our grand champion. Because for those who don't know, the Sanctuary also does wrestling, and we are in this giant wrestling ring with each other, lip syncing battle the house down. It is amazing. It is absolutely fun. So I do definitely recommend people going there. And Alanya, I know you just mentioned the shows, but is there anything that you want to give a specific shout out?
Just tomorrow. Tomorrow we are at Cafe 210 in State College, Pennsylvania, 21 plus, 9 p.m. Amazing shows. Also, I see in the comments section, we have our new Miss Hollywood Cabaret in the chat.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
First of all, Mia Ho, congratulations, girl. We love you. I can't wait to hopefully compete next year. I called her, I go, let's talk. So it's there. I see some shows, some questions, but we will get back to them. I want we can briefly talk about the name of tipping. Glitter on my tips. I almost forgot I was not tipping as much. It's in front of me. Glitter on my tips. Let me tell this audience, it took us a hot minute to decide something, but when Alanya messaged me back it was a must-have. And we were gonna call it. I think we got stuck on
Glitter Table Talks.
Glitter Table Talk, which was cute. It was nice, but I was like, I need more. And then I was like, table tipping. And Elijah was like, sounds like cow tipping. I mean, we are in rural Pennsylvania, so it's good. And then she threw this one out, and here we are. I fell in love with it. It is everything. So that is the reason why we picked this name. It fits well. Also, as drag performers, we shake out that glitter. When we get the tips, we're like collecting it when we get home. We're shaking it all out, which means we know we worked.
And you'll get a little more glitter, a little more magic the more you tip.
Yes.
Now, tip more than 20.
I mean, the highest bill I've gotten tipped before is 100, and I'm not apologetic to it. Yeah, It was good. It was good. I had to leave my lip prints on someone's head, but hey.
Just another Friday.
Yeah, just another Friday. But it was worth it. It was all a good time. There was consent involved, but we don't have to get in that tip. We're past tips. So we are going to play a game. Now, the audience, I see there's a few of you going in and out, and we love that. You are able to be part of this game, but wait your turn, okay? Me and Alanya have some discussion to do. You'll know when it's your turn, when in the audience, you get to say what your vote is for the game we're doing. And the game we are playing is top or bottom. We have two options up on display that will either read a top position or a bottom position. And me and Alanya are going to decide which one we would prefer. And then once we decide and kind of discuss it a little bit, you'll have the option to announce if you would prefer the top or the bottom.
And tell us the reasons why in the chat. We'll read it.
Yeah, we
We
love
can see
insight.
everything that you're posting. So
Mhm,
if you want to
mhm,
tell me that I'm pretty, go ahead. You want to
mhm.
tell Trixie she's pretty, don't lie.
Yes. So we'll move on to the first one. I apologize for any misspelling ahead of time. I did proofread this with Alanya at the last minute. So the top side, this is a performer who has 15K followers on social media, but you have to chase them to find an answer. For those who don't know that, that's like trying to find out, are you interested? Do you get your music? Do you see anything? Like, what is I need some contact back. The bottom is this performer is new to drag, but over communicates in group messages and uses chats to talk about their personal life. So Alanya, I'm gonna let you go first. You get to choose for this one if you prefer the top or the bottom, and I'm all here for it. Like I know what your position is in real life, but I'm ready to see if you're gonna be switching it up today.
So I'm going to say bottom.
Bottom? Why?
So
Do you want me to answer? Do you want me to answer first, or do you want to
go
go
ahead.
first?
Tell us which one is yours.
Okay, so for me, I'm also going for the bottom. Yeah,
Naturally,
I'm going for the bottom. Yeah, I'm taking it.
we know. So the reason why I chose bottom is because if the performer's new to drag and is just over communicating, it's excitement. It shows that they are wanting to do more. And maybe it's just a conversation of saying, hey, this is a business chat. It's something that is easily teachable. It is a teachable moment. I'm not going to have to chase you down for things. I know that you're going to communicate because you're over communicating.
Yeah.
And maybe just let you know, like, hey, like maybe this is something more for a DM than a group chat. I would rather have the over communicative, excited new performer. And I'm saying excited even though it's not part of the prompt, but usually when it's a new performer who's over communicating, it's because they are genuinely excited.
Yeah.
They're willing to learn, they're willing to listen. If the worst that you have is that you're just going to, vomit your life story in the group chat, no one's gonna read it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna scroll right past it. I would rather that than having to chase after you when I have 50,000 other things that I have to get done for this show.
Yes. So I agree. I'm sacrificing. I hate group chats. I hate when I'm in group chats. I hate when we are not talking business only and I have to hear about like what somebody ate for lunch the last 3 days. It's not my thing. But I would rather take that than knowing I don't, because what the top's giving me in this situation is lack of reliability. Like it looks like I can't depend on you or rely on you when I'm asking for a simple question or answer or something. Like if it feels like I'm pulling teeth, it's not for me. And that's what it comes down to. So with that, we'll move to our audience members, and I see some of them going now. So audience members, it's your turn to answer. Would you pick the top or the bottom? I also want to give a quick shout out to some of the people that came in there that I just realized. So hello, Anthony Blackwell, who is also a person who runs their podcast called ABJ Podcast. Hello, Amanda, and hello, John Trotsky, who is the person who runs the sanctuary. So thank you all for joining. So what do we have? We have so we have a top. Anthony says top, and Anthony specifically says top. This is super relatable, and the podcast top are harder to communicate with, but get the job done. Bottom is excited, but normally the camera is running. So it sounds like you're more for the bottom, and I agree. I agree. Amanda says bottom. Emily, hello, Kitty DeVille. We're total bottom. Girl, ma'am, yes. Ma'am, yes.
Like, to me, that 15,000 followers means absolutely nothing coming from a public relations standpoint. The reason for that is it doesn't actually tell me what your engagement looks like.
Yes.
Did you buy those followers? Is it actual like growth of your account? And how often are you posting? What kind of content are you posting? Because you could have 15,000 followers, but your account is about training dogs.
Yeah.
Listen, Trixie cannot be tamed.
I can't be actually.
No.
We do have somebody who picked a top up in there. That is
Ooh.
Visa Decline. Hello, AJ. I do have to say, like most people's social media doesn't mean anything to me because you can get a lot of likes and followers, but what do you do in the community? That's what I care more about, and how do you connect? So we're gonna move to the second one. We have 3 of these tonight, and we're gonna go. And the top for this one is the performer walks backstage with an attitude demanding things from their dresser. For those who don't know, some people actually bring their own dressers with them, if allowed, and help them. And they are demanding things from the dresser that they brought. But she can sell out a show. So this is someone who we know when we book, we're getting a sold out show or a very packed show. The bottom is this performer is reserved and shy. They typically never ask anything backstage, but they also don't really help others. They kind of keep to themselves. But she is a crowd favorite in her local area. So if we're in her area, she's one that people really love. This is a hard one.
I already have my answer.
I you know what? Do you want me to? I'll go first this time.
You're going first this time. I went first last.
So for me, I'm picking the bottom. I'm picking 2 bottoms. I can't do this, but I'm picking the bottom for that. What are you picking?
I am picking bottom because the last thing I want is a negative influence on my baby performers. No, don't yell at your dressers. They're doing you a favor. I don't care if you are paying that dresser. You better be respectful. I do not need you setting an example for the new performers to think that they can talk to people any way they'd like. That is not the case. Even as a show director, I give everyone, doesn't matter if you're a part of the show, if you're outside of the show, if you have respect for me, I will give you respect first.
Yeah.
Truly.
Honestly, I'm picking the bottom too for that same thing. I think it's nasty and rude. I look at respect in the sense of like who's walking in, and I'm like, you know what? I don't actually want to do it. Can I handle it? Yes, but I don't want to put the energy to that. I'd rather put the energy to maybe taking someone who seems introverted and helping them. Hey, let's see if you would like to start unfolding and undoing that. So
also the exchange of energy. The top is gonna, I'm telling you right now, you're gonna be uncomfortable. I've been in that dressing room with that performer who is yelling at their dresser, telling them, yes, it is a job. Yes, if you're paying them, it's a job.
Yeah.
At the same time, they are still human, and I would rather you contribute no negative energy and no positive energy than to contribute something negative. I don't care if you sell out the show.
Yeah, I think for me, I agree with that also because it makes me think of like it's also when I'm not in the room, like other people get uncomfortable in the room and the other performers I now have to think about. So let's go to our audience. Let's go to what our audience have said. Y'all jumped on this quick, like really quick. And I see a top. I won't read the full thing, but they are a person who works in the business field and know how to deal with those kind of things. We got a person who said bottom. Anthony, if you're a bottom, don't come to the show on Friday. Because so Anthony specifically said to build a culture of people who can learn, right? Like, so I want to highlight that. I think that's important, the ability people can learn. Positive bottom, related to just positivity. Respect all the way. Come on, Johnny Ma. So and then
so I see one that says top. I'm all about the money.
Here we go. Yes, top, all about Visa Decline. Okay. Hey, I mean, I get it. Like there is that reality of needing to sell the show for others. So it's like a give and take. I would say it depends on the show, but if it's my show, it's no. But here's the thing. If I'm performing and it's not my show, I wouldn't care. I would become versed. It wouldn't matter for me if I was in the show because I knew how to manage that. But if I'm the show producer, I'm there. I'm gonna sell out the show myself because ma'am. So
to me, I understand wanting to sell out the show. My biggest part in this is I'm not just responsible for what's happening outside on the floor. I'm responsible for the experience of the other performers.
Yes. Yeah, that's
as much as I love selling out a show, it is not necessary.
Because
If I
you
have
also
the budget to pay you, I can pay you.
Mhm.
And granted, there might not be extra for everyone, but at least I can pay you and know that I am not selling myself out just to have a sold out show and
Mhm.
possibly influencing a newer performer to do the same thing.
Because the other thing to that is people have to come back. You have to have the show again. We're gonna have a one and done show. Then you just like someone actually I think said it in there. One apple spoils the bunch. Yes, Sam did. So thank you all for participating in the second one. We're gonna move to the third one now, but I want to state this: these you all like please don't think that your opinion is not valid here. We all have our own opinions and points of view. I think it's great. This helps us create that dialogue. That this is what this podcast is all about. So please, it's okay to state your opinion. So we have our third option here today. And so the top for this one is this performer is known for never showing up and canceling, but she is always respectful and polite when she does show up. The bottom is this performer runs many shows in other areas. However, they do not have good hygiene. Wash those tights, sis.
I'm not going to lie, I'm going bottom. I'm going bottom specifically because, there's that trade off rule. And secondly, some osium spray, some deodorant, and a little gift baggie goes a long way.
So for me, I know we talked about this earlier, and as I'm thinking of it, I want to play the other round. I'm gonna say I'll be the top. I'll pick the top. And now that we have that recorded, don't.
Oh my gosh, I'm a triple bottom.
But you are. I almost picked a bottom for this one. But here's why I think I can pick the top, because I've booked these people. I've booked people who I know cancel. Now, the shows I'm booking them for is a guarantee I'm going to book 2 people. So I feel like I'm going to let one person, like, I'm going to be like, yeah, come to my show. So if I overbook, it's not much of an issue, because the contracts for someone that I know is going to always cancel, I'm asking for a free gig. I'm asking for a fundraiser. I'm asking for bodies to be there for performances. And that's the reality that I'm like, you know what? I can rely on them canceling if I need to, and it wouldn't impact anything. That doesn't mean like we shouldn't acknowledge the fact, why are they canceling? I think it's important to talk about. There are important reasons to cancel, but also I also like the idea that they're very respectful and they're good and they're kind when they do show up. So it's one of those, it could be a win/not win for this one.
Can we highlight Anthony Blackwell's comment? Thank you, Anthony, for being such an avid participant, by the way.
So thank you. Is it this one right top? So
yes. So the reason why firstly, full disclosure, if you know me, you know that I own like over 100, and I'm not even exaggerating, I own over 100 fragrances. My biggest fear is smelling bad. I would rather smell like the Macy's fragrance department. At the same time, I understand anxiety and how it can get to you at the last minute. We're not doing this with our regular jobs. We can't be doing this with this job either.
Well, sure. And even if this is your regular job, I think as a new person, there is leniency in there. So as long as there's comprehension and transparency, but I also see this, if this is a regular person, like, and we know them in the back of our heads, are like, they'll never be booked, because if we call you and say, hey, we want to book you 4 times, and you've canceled 3 in a row out of the 4th time, or however it works, statistically, like, this is no good. This is no bueno. And so but I also agree, like, I'm a person that I can't do bad hygiene all the time. Yeah.
I can't do bad hygiene. At the same time, the unspoken rule, you're a show director, I'm a show director, let's book each other. Secondly, I'm sorry, but you are unreliable. I would rather have someone who is reliable.
Yeah.
When you have your own show, there is this level of understanding of what it is that you need to bring. So if you stink, you better be bringing something else too. You can't just be wafting that, doing cartwheels and death drops on the floor. Like,
I mean, we all have spray. That is, I mean, mostly like, so we'll help you. But I think what you just said spoke to John's comment about like the reliability and cancellation to those things. Like,
and that's the thing. So I see people in the comments are saying neither or side. Sometimes you don't have that option.
Right, right.
Sometimes,
So I think, did someone say I need a side choice? Stop. I can't. I mean, I'm good. None of us actually said verse or side. So we didn't get to that part yet, which is if we ever come to where we can't agree, we just call it a verse. We'll take either or whatever position. But I think you know
also, I know that some people will go into the show smelling perfectly fine and they will bust their behinds on that floor. Plus, let's not even talk about how hot it is in the club, how hot it is in some of these bars. So when you work up that sweat and you stink after the show, guess what, babes? You did it. You put on a show. At least you put on a show. At least you did your thing. Go home, take a shower, wash them tights for the next.
right. And I
Because
also
I would rather it stink for maybe like the 3 minutes that you're cartwheeling on the floor, but for it to be a good show and you showed up and you put
yeah,
on the show. Because
yeah.
guess what? I can promise you, I know plenty of performers who give a killer show, but reek of tortilla chips.
Well, Fritos. Come on. Where's my guac? There's I think the thing though with this though, and this was our last one. Thank you everyone for who commented. But the thing I want to highlight also within that statement is I've had to do double gigs, like back to back in the same day. I've had actually like where I've had to do 3 shows in one day. And that third show, honey, I'm not getting out of the tights. I just sweat off in the last 2 shows. So you're getting what you get. I will do my best to spray because I know I'm gonna smell like I'm like, girl, she a working girl. She got to do this. So I will say I've been there when I'm just like did I pack my deodorant? Please tell me I packed my deodorant.
And that is literally the funniest thing. Honestly, Febreze, if you ever watch this for Pride, do a drag queen commercial and talk about how that spray is going to save them tights after your second and third show of the night.
And then for anyone for hip pads or foam, there's that too. Like it could go. Or if you
Wash
do
your pads.
right,
Don't just wash your tights. Wash your pads.
right, wash your pads, wash your tights, wash your outfits. Because the best outfit I
Hide your kids. Hide your.
So thank you for everyone playing along. This was our first game. Well, we have plenty more and others. As an educator, I tried to give that. So thank you all for giving your insight. And so as we wrap up our first episode of Glitter on My Tips, we are now leaving it open to you to ask questions if you have any. Is there anything that came up? What are you thinking? But prior to asking your questions, or as you're getting your thoughts on the keyboard and you're typing, remember you can find this book, Tipping is a Must, at Amazon. It is on Amazon. I do have book signing events that do come up from now and then. If you want me to do a book signing event at a venue that you know, contact me. We can set it up. Are you saying? Oh, that's what I wrote for you. Don't show them that I'm nice.
Well, it's blurred out. It's blurred out. But I already have my custom copy with my custom signing.
Yeah. Yes. And to kind of find where we're at, like go to juicywithjake.com if you're looking to collaborate, if you're looking to be a sponsor, or if you're looking to be a guest on this show, we can talk what that looks like. I will remind all of you, everyone comes with different reasons. I'm not going to go down the list here today. Alanya, while their questions are coming in, can you please provide them with what socials they can find you at?
Of course. So you can find me at Alanya, Alonya, Chest. So name, chest, wherever have you, and you've got me.
Perfect. So I see. So there we go. This is a question by Jennifer. I kind of scrolled up, so if I missed your question, please retype it in there. But Jennifer specifically asked, what makeup do you use that doesn't cake up the under the eye? And I'm going to let you take that one because we're both pretty and stunning, but we all know, at least I will acknowledge, like, I love your makeup skills. So what would you like, what can they use to help not cake up the under eye?
So there's a couple of different factors that go into that, specifically around the texture that your skin already has. If you have any kind of wrinkle, creasing, whatever have you, makeup will not fix that. My favorite technique to do is to apply the makeup with a brush. So I'm assuming you mean concealer. When it comes to concealer, I love using a brush first, and then I'll take my little powder puff triangle and pat it out. Don't use too much. Let it dry down first. If you're a drag performer and you do a lot of shows and you do not let your concealer dry down, and when I mean dry down is give it like a minute.
Yeah.
And then blend it out. You will have such full coverage. It'll be a lot less texture. But a reminder, under eye baggage and genetics, makeup isn't going to fix that.
Yeah.
So
next question by Anthony. Anthony, thank you so much for participating so much in today. Anthony, again, I'll give you a shout out. Their podcast is ABJ. It is a fun pun, but it's also just their initials. So they got blessed. If someone never consumed any drag show, TVs, or media, what do you recommend? I was told about a horror version show. I just don't know the name. So the name you're thinking of is Dragula for the Boulet Brothers, which can be found on Shudder. Shout out to Emily, who also put that in the comments. So thank you. I think so. One of the things is drag right now is accessible in many different ways. And I think if we are looking at media, non-media, come to some of your local LGBTQA events. Why don't you come down to the center and actually meet some people who are drag people or who you might not know they're performing, but you'll get to know them and find out where they could be performing. And that networking thing can help find where, if people are interested in drag, what's the find. You can also look at your local leaders, such as myself and Alanya, who you all now know or have known, to we'll ask questions. We'll see how we can get involved. And those are easy ways that if you don't have social media or don't see it on TV. And I will put it out there, drag in real life is not the same on TV.
And that's what I was just thinking, is when you want to be exposed to drag, what kind of drag do you want to be exposed to? Because it is an umbrella.
Yeah.
It's not just one thing.
Yeah.
It's a Russian nesting doll. There are so many things that go into drag. Do you want family-friendly shows? Do you want cabaret? Do you want showgirls? Do you want Broadway? Drag is so much. Mm-hmm. My first recommendation, go to a local show. Find where you fit in. Find what you enjoy and keep going from there. Yeah. I can't tell you what you're going to enjoy, what you're not going to enjoy. It's all a learning experience for you.
Alanya, we have a specific question for you. Alanya, what do you plan on doing if you were to win Miss Gay Pennsylvania America? How will you continue the legacy? So for anyone who don't know, as I announced, Alanya Chest is our current reigning Miss Gay Pittsburgh, PA America, Gay America. I butchered that. I'm sorry. I did it right the first time.
Miss Gay Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania America.
And she's competing October 22nd. Yeah, October 22nd. For Miss Gay Pennsylvania, which is my drag mother. She is a former and an icon and legend, Tequila Daniel. So when you do win, because I'm not putting if, you're a good queen. I've seen you. Although there is one other queen I may not hope to win too. It's your mother, but you're my host right now. So yeah.
It is literally my mother.
I love your mom. So Miss Amethyst Diamond. So do you want to answer this question?
Sure. So I will use the same exact answer that I gave for Pittsburgh. My biggest goal with drag is to make it not only accessible, but also to give entry into things that don't have to be a competition. I want to see people being able to get into the scene and learn from mentors. Mm. Stop with the whole drag family thing. I don't understand it. If you are a year in and you're already taking on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 children, listen, it took me years before I realized, okay, now I am ready to help somebody else. Mm-hmm. You can be sisters. You don't have to be a mother.
Oh, you don't. Say it louder.
I want to see mentoring. Don't just get into a drag house just for the name. I can promise you, when Amethyst Diamond reached out to me and was like, hey, be my kid, I was already doing my own thing. I was already established as a performer. And she said, here's what I can offer you in terms of growth. And I said, you'll help me with this? And she goes, yeah, I'll help you with this. I will make sure that you grow as a performer. I said,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we're going to take at least one more question because we're running a little bit out of time. So we'll take the last question. For anyone who didn't get their question answered, come back to the next one and be the first one. We'll be sure to do that. We are going to be doing these podcasts every other week, the second and third, or I don't know how it works, whatever. So this Monday, and then 2 weeks from now, Monday, and then follow that same pattern at 8 p.m. If you're looking for that engagement. So the last question is a makeup question by Nikki, who is Rosa Dela Cruz. And I've scrolled up. So sorry, Nikki. There we go.
I have an answer.
There's the question. So helping their face not sweat so much.
All right, so I can answer this question as a queen with hyperhidrosis, which if you don't know what hyperhidrosis is, it means that I sweat excessively. So first thing is, if you have the means, meaning you have the benefit, the privilege of having good health insurance, go to your dermatologist or your PCP. Ask them for an antiperspirant. They have oral and they have topical. So I'm on both. I have a topical that I use at nighttime and an oral pill that literally prevents me from sweating. If you do not have the luxury of health insurance, because we're in America and it's not universal, 3B Face Saver. The number 3, the letter B, Face Saver on Amazon. I guarantee that before I even went to the dermatologist, before I went to my PCP, that was my tried and true. Stops me from sweating. It is specifically a facial antiperspirant. So it is safe for your face. And when I tell you that it drastically reduces the amount that you sweat, I really do mean it. And especially when you combine all three together, not a single drop of sweat.
We love it. Thank you. Thank you all so much. So with that, I do want to do 2 quick, another shout out by my book. Tipping is a must. And it also just lets you be informed of what we could be talking about here. It also helps you be a little bit more engaged in our section, our comment section, because we love the insight other people are bringing in here. I do want to just put out there, drag is not a crime, and I am going to state that on here. And drag is an art form, but it also is more than an art form. It's a way where people can grow, to be professional, to learn those soft skills, to be leaders. It is much more out there. And anyone looking for advocacy and work, so go to your local shows, support us, support the work that we do. So I just want to put that short plug out there because this year has been rough for drag people and it's continuous to be. So I definitely want that noted and stated. But with that in mind, our next episode 2, my favorite number, not because it's 1 or 2, but it's both. Sorry, it's a terrible joke because I feel like it was a dad joke, is October 9th. And I'm super excited because we have our first guest onto the show. It is the fabulous, the one, the only Jade DeVere, the host of the Inside the Drag Closet, who said yes to being on our podcast. Lanya, I know you were actually most recently on her podcast with the last episode. I've been on there a few times myself. And I just have to say, we're super excited to see what she has to offer and bring on the insight and see what glitter she is dusting off of her tips. So with that in mind, thank you all for being here and showing up. I am your host, Trixie Valentine. Alanya Chest is your other host. And reach out to us, talk to us. And again, if you're looking to be a sponsor, if you're looking to be on the show, or if you just have more questions, we are here. You can find me at juicywithjake.com, and you can find Alanya on her social medias at Alanya Chest. Thank you all so much.
Follow us, buy the book.
Buy the book.
And have a great night.